Hello, everyone, and welcome to Thought Leader Talks. To put it simply, if you're an MSP, you've been tubbed. Our thought leader for the month is a name ubiquitous with mentoring MSPs, Richard Tubb. Richard's blog has been a cornerstone in the MSP industry for over 15 years, with over 3,000 blog posts to help MSP owners. When you have a talk with Richard, you'd understand perfectly well why. He's passionate about helping MSPs grow and scale their business, and he's very generous with sharing his proven insights. All of them based on over 2 decades of solid IT experience, building a hugely successful MSP from the ground up, and as a trusted advisor to hundreds of MSPs and enterprises on small IT business growth. Hi, Richard, and great to meet you.
Thank you, Teresa. Wow, what an introduction. I feel as though you've set the bar for me really high. I better give good value here.
I'm sure you will. So Richard, talking about the MSP market, the MSP market is expected to reach $411 billion in 2027 at a very robust growth of 10.2%. So with such robust growth, it can make it difficult for MSPs to find a niche for themselves. Can you share some pointers for MSPs to better differentiate themselves in a crowded market?
Yeah, that's a really good question to start with, Teresa. So in terms of niching or niching, as our friends in North America would say, the two ones that I typically see in the wider IT industry, so I'm not talking about managed service providers, tend to be geographic. Okay. So that is, you are the only IT company within a certain distance. And if you've got that niche sewn up, brilliant. But in my experience, there's not too many of those who have got an entire geographical market to themselves. The other one tends to be technical. So people are like specialize in SharePoint or Linux or things like that. Okay. But so those are two common ones. But when it comes to managed service providers, here in the UK, I don't see too many MSPs who are niching, who are focusing on a vertical. And I think it's a missed opportunity because in North America and other parts of the world, I do see MSPs that focus on a specific vertical. So it could be financial services or healthcare or something like that. But to the MSPs who don't have a niche at the moment, what I would say is it doesn't necessarily need to be focused on a specific vertical. So you don't have to be going after professional services or healthcare or education, anything like that. What you could niche down on and differentiate yourself is by niching on the type of client that you work with. So let me give you an example. I know of one MSP based out of Los Angeles who works with young creative businesses. Now that's a way to differentiate yourself, isn't it, Teresa? Because if you are going through Google and you're looking for an IT company in the local geography, and you see loads of them that just say, I do IT support in Los Angeles. Which one do you choose? But if you see yourself as a young creative business, and then you find a Google listing that says, we work with young and creative businesses, people are going to be more interested in working with you. So, niching as a whole is a very powerful way to grow your IT business, but don't stand on the fact that you have to niche in a vertical. You can niche by working with a type of client. Does that make sense?
Fine-tune your target persona.
Yes, indeed. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good advice. And what advice would you give emerging MSPs struggling to formulate their sales and marketing strategies, particularly with respect to lead generation?
Oh, another great question. So I will be upfront here. When I started my managed service provider business, I did so because I'm a techie, I'm a geek. I love working with technology and I was good at helping people. But then all of a sudden, what I found was, I needed to sell myself to other people. As the business grew, word of mouth only takes you so far, and then you need to be in sort of sales situations. So the first piece of advice I'd give to any either aspiring MSP or new MSP that's similar to me, where the business owner is perhaps a technician primarily, is invest in sales training. So I did training with an organization called Sandler Sales Training. It's a big investment of time and money, I will say that up front, but it paid dividends for me. Now, even if you are not prepared to invest that time and money, there are brilliant sales trainers and books and mentors that you can find out there. So there's a brilliant book, for instance, that I recommend to people called Selling Technology the Sandler Way.
Okay.
And, you know, it's a fairly short read. You can read it in a couple of hours or whatever. Just gives you some ideas. The point to this is you want a system when you go into a sales meeting. You want to, instead of making it up on the fly, you want to be able to go in there and go, right, I know what I'm going to ask. I know when I'm going to keep quiet. And I know when I'm going to listen. And so you ask the right questions, you listen to the responses, and you respond accordingly to that. So that's the first thing I would say. Now, that's when you've got a sales meeting come through. Before the sales, of course, you've got to attract people who are interested in working with you. Now, this is an area that managed service providers, I'm going to be upfront and honest here, I think they do it really, really badly. I think marketing is something that MSPs neglect. And I would encourage every MSP to put effort into consistent marketing. You can be the best IT company in the world, but if nobody knows about you, what is the point? So marketing, you know, can be as simple as you can be engaging with people on social media. LinkedIn is a gold mine for MSPs trying to find local businesses that they perhaps could work with. My personal approach when I was running my MSP business was to utilize what is now known as content marketing. And that is, you know, blogging. You very kindly mentioned, you know, I've written over 3,000 blog posts. People will probably be sick to death of reading my blog post by now, but that has been written over sort of 15, 20 years as an MSP and as a consultant now. And what blogging did for me, Teresa, was it allowed me to demonstrate my knowledge to other people, so they were aware of my expertise, but it allowed people to learn from me and learn to trust me. So there's an old adage, isn't there, that people do business with people they know, like, and trust. I think, you know, most everyone in the world appreciates that. Blogging and content marketing was a way of demonstrating my expertise, but allowing people to get to know me, hopefully like me, and trust me. And what I found was when I went into sales situations as a result of the content marketing that I did, more than 90% of the job has already been done. When I sat down with them, it was our sale to make. So for anybody, you know, watching this and thinking, well, content marketing, blogging, podcast, videos, all those type of things, I'm not sure it's for me. I'll give a second book recommendation here. I'm a big book reader, as you can see from all the books behind. And the book is called They Ask, You Answer by Marcus Sheridan. Wonderful book. It's nothing at all to do with IT, but there is a ton to learn from it about answering people's questions and building up trust and in your marketing and who you are. So hopefully that gives some ideas. You've got to get people through the door. First of all, and that's where the marketing comes in, content marketing. But then when you go into the sales meeting, have a system.
Right. And especially with digital marketing, I mean, you can, using good content, you can both get your leads and nurture the leads, as you said, you know, so that they're ripe and ready for you when you.
And I will say, for anybody watching this who's thinking, well, I'm not a good writer, I couldn't blog, I don't want to do a podcast, I feel uncomfortable doing video series. You know, what Teresa's doing here is a form of content marketing, isn't it, Teresa?
It is.
I'm hoping that our conversation is valuable and educational for the market. But, you know, you are giving help to people through our conversation there. And, you know, hopefully that raises the profile of Cloud Ally and more people are going to speak to you. So.
It's high value content. So,
yes,
you know,
indeed.
Yes. Moving on. So, you know, we touched upon it. The aftermath of the pandemic has turned digital transformation from a buzzword to a must-have. So what are some practical ways that MSPs can digitally transform their application stack, business model? And yes, we spoke about the marketing strategy earlier on.
Oh, digital transformation. You're absolutely right. Marketing buzzword. So if anybody is playing buzzword bingo while they're listening to this, well, you can tick that one off.
That's true.
It really used to be a buzzword, didn't it? Now, what I've noticed over the last 18 months, the pandemic, everything, it's gone from being a buzzword to being an actual thing that clients are asking MSPs for.
Right.
And so for anybody unfamiliar with what digital transformation is, if I was to really boil it down, what it is, it's helping clients to do more, to do things faster, better, and cheaper through the use of technology. So most of us as managed service providers have gone into our client sites, had a look around, and we see the way they do things, run their own businesses, and we think, that's probably not very efficient, that's not very optimized. And so digital transformation could be as simple as saying, hey, I noticed that you're still using a written order form when you take calls from a client, and then you fax that order form across to a supplier, and I notice you still do that. Can I speak to you about how we do that? So we've got an online ordering system, and it automatically sends the orders to suppliers, and it cuts back on the amount of time that we spend processing orders, and it also makes sure that the orders are processed more accurately. Is that something that you might be interested in? And so those are the types of conversation that I had. Digital transformation isn't just a buzzword anymore. It's about helping people use technology to do things faster, better, and cheaper. The great news is the business that you've built as an MSP is probably at the cutting edge of what digital transformation is all about. So the business that you've got can serve as a great template for you to have conversations with your clients and say, look, here's how we do things. Do you think that could be helpful to you? And for me, digital transformation is as simple as that. It's always been about helping the client to use technology better. But now with the pandemic and everybody trying to do more with less, it becomes really, really important. I think it's a huge growth area for MSPs.
It's like a lifeboat in these times, right?
Yeah. And let's be honest, Teresa, one of the other things during the pandemic, what we realized was that every business is a technology business.
That's true.
Because everybody needed to work from home, they needed to use email, and all these things. So, it's no longer a case of people saying, oh, we'll stick with how we are. Every business uses technology now, so it's a great opportunity for MSPs.
That's true. And, talking further about our current situation, the remote hybrid workforce is here to stay. So based on your mentoring of MSPs, what are some of the key challenges that MSPs face to survive and grow during this new normal with a remote hybrid workforce? And how would you suggest any suggestions to overcome these challenges?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? So if we rewind to March 2020, when the pandemic first kicked off, and we can laugh about it now, can't we, Teresa? But at the time, it was quite stressful. Now, I spoke to clients, MSPs, and I'm a part of the online community to the Tech Tribe, and we had MSPs saying, look, we're getting clients bombard us saying, can we move to the cloud? Can you enable our people to work from home? Digital transformation, all of these things that we've talked about, they were bombarded by them. Right. So if we, and I call it the great working from home rush, that's what took place last March. But as you rightly say, we've reached a point now where some people are starting to go back into the office, but some people just don't want to.
Right.
And other businesses have decided, well, we don't need an expensive office. We're going to continue working from home. So we are in a situation now where MSPs have got to deal with not just one site, but multiple sites, hardware, software, users, services distributed across so many different sites, people working from home, from cafes, from offices, all over the place. And the thing I would say to MSPs is, don't try and fight this, embrace it, because it opens up opportunities for you. So one opportunity that I would hugely encourage MSPs to look into, if you've got clients who have got staff still working from home, chances are they are working on consumer grade equipment. So stuff, cheap laptops and home PCs. And Teresa, I had one MSP tell me at the start of this that they had a client get in touch with them with a Windows 95 laptop. Wow. And they said, can you make this work
from the museum?
Yeah. So there's a huge opportunity to speak to the clients who are still working from home to say, hey, if this is going to be a permanent fixture, let's talk to you about business grade equipment. Let's talk to you about business grade laptops. Let's talk to you about good quality chairs for your office. Let's talk about dual monitors. Let's talk about good quality webcams. Also, let's have a conversation about the broadband that you've got at home, because it's probably consumer grade and not really fit for purpose, what we're trying to do with a business. Let's talk about security. Yes. How can we keep staff secure when they're at home? VPNs and secure remote working, things like that. So many opportunities there. But I think MSPs traditionally have looked at working from home as like this thing that people do some of the time. Now, this is a part of everything that you've got to look after. Right. So I think there's a huge amount of opportunity in there. And going back to the distributed workforce as well, have conversation with clients about security, about cloud services, about how you can manage them, because this is where you can add real value to your client's life. They know that they need to do something, but they're not sure what. You can help them go down that path, take the right turns when they need to.
Right. Yeah. And, I was laughing about it because even though it seems just 2 years ago, it actually seems like a decade ago. So much has been disrupted and changed in just such short a time. So it could be a great opportunity. Yes.
It could. And I will say one final thing on the whole WFH, working from home. MSPs, and there's going to be lots of MSPs watching this who can't wait for everybody to go back to the office because they are sick of supporting rubbish equipment at home.
That's true.
But as you've said, Teresa, the world isn't going to just snap back to the way it was. This is the new, people say that if you're playing buzzword bingo, this is the new normal. This is what we talk about. So rather than get frustrated, I want managed service providers to think about how they can lower their cost of support and increase their revenue by helping clients with better working from home options. Because if you've got business grade equipment, if you've got security in place, good cybersecurity, if you've got the business grade broadband in place, there's going to be less service tickets for you to have to deal with.
Right.
Which lowers your cost of support, which increases your profits, and your client will be happy. So it's a win-win.
Win-win. That's true. Enable your customers to fit in and thrive in this era.
Yeah, absolutely.
With this pandemic, and it has been on the rise. Like there's been a massive growth in the adoption and popularity of cloud technologies. What tips would you give MSPs keen on strengthening their cloud portfolio and leveraging cloud-based business models, which promise agility, scalability, pay-as-you-go pricing to increase their revenue?
Yeah, so it's a really interesting one. If you, as an MSP watching this today, or an IT company, do not start forging relationships with cloud solution providers. We've got Microsoft, we've got Google, but there's so many others in the market as well. If you don't start building those relationships and offering options to your clients, they will go and make their own decisions, because all it takes now is a smartphone, a credit card, and they're up and running. So they will cut you out of the loop there. And then, as an MSP, you'll end up trying to get all of it to work, which can create headaches for you. Right. So it's much better that build relationships with cloud specialists. So there are partners out there, people you can partner up with who know about Microsoft Azure, who can help you through the M365 landscape, all of these different services, solutions, everything else that's going on out there. Partner up with somebody who can be your support. In the old days, Teresa, when, I've been in this industry a long time,
right.
Prior to hosted computing, prior to cloud computing, we used to work with distributors who would help us choose the best laptops and the best routers and this, that, and the other. The distribution market has moved on now. So you've got cloud solution providers, cloud distributors who help out. Right. Zix, other people in the market can help out with this type of thing. I would encourage MSPs to build that relationship up, but then realize that where you're going to make the money on cloud computing is not on selling it. Because if you sell an Office 365 license, you make a markup, you make a margin. It's not very much.
Right.
What I would encourage MSPs to be doing is to realize that They have got all the knowledge up here that their clients need to successfully use these cloud services. So if they partner with somebody who can make it easy for them to provide the cloud services, then the MSP can provide the expertise and the support that enables them to make good money, good margin. That is valuable. So when it comes to MSPs doing cloud, don't just sell licenses. Think about how you can package the license to provide a valuable solution to your clients. I hope that makes sense for people watching.
Right. So more of a successful adoption and to optimize their use of the cloud technologies.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because MSPs have got the knowledge. Clients know that they need to move to cloud services, but don't really know what the best avenue to take is. That's where MSPs can help.
Richard, it's been wonderful talking to you, and you've provided wonderful insights that I'm sure will be very helpful to our MSPs, CSPs, resellers, VARs listening in. Thank you so much, Richard, and I look forward to connecting with you again.
My pleasure. I will say it's been a pleasure talking to you, Teresa. If any of your community wants to continue the conversation with me, I'm really easy to find online. Just go along to my blog, www.tubblog.co.uk. You can find me on social media. Just do a search for Richard Tubb MSP. They will find me.
And you've got great podcasts too.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Yes, I love Tubb Talk, the podcast for IT consultants. So you can find it all on the blog. So
Thank you so much, Richard.
Thanks, Teresa. My pleasure.
Bye.